Hey everybody, quick one today. This is one I had years ago. I don't think I ever did a review of it. And then I just, see it pop up on Amazon and I'm like, you know what? That's a cool little one to have in the collection. This is one that's actually really, really useful. So it's Cold Steel, and I know their brand is a little bit Mall Ninja if you watch their guy, Len something, I forget the guy's name. It's the guy I'm thinking of. He's like a big fat guy, and he's always like, pretend to be like a martial arts expert and stuff. And I don't know that he's ever actually studied any martial arts. Most martial artists aren't like morbidly obese, so usually they tend to stay in better shape. But anyway, 6-inch overall, AUS 8A steel. It's got a 2.5-inch blade. It's a Warncliffe, or maybe it's a sheep's foot. Not sure which one. Only weighs 2.5 ounces. So let's open it up and see. So I will be opening it up with my case trapper, which I carry this one a lot. Out of my traditional knives, even though the whatchamacallit one is actually a little bit nicer, the Boker, I don't know, something about the shinier stainless steel blade, the higher polish, the red bone. I don't know, just a really nice smooth knife. Anyway, let's get into the Cold Steel. In the back, you got their contact info and the warranty and all that stuff. So, while I call the Cold Steel, Mall Ninja, some of their stuff is kind of weird and out there. But they do actually make, it's good quality steels. They're nicely made and stuff. So, they're actually good little knives. So, what this is a little small, super lightweight little pocket knife. It's got a really small handle, and to me, and I probably should have grabbed one because I think I've got one. It's kind of like their version of, there's the Kershaw Shuffle and the Shuffle 2, which is like little mini kind of knives. The difference, though, is that this uses better steel. It's thicker. It's better made. This is using, I think that was their Triad lock. It's got a really solid lock. And it's just a much better knife. And those little Kershaws are like $18, and this was $28 on Amazon. But you've got a pocket clip, which is reversible if you happen to be a lefty. But it is tip up only. You can open it one-handed, but you're not going to, just the way it is, you have to hold it. It's not the kind of knife that you're easily going to kind of like flick it up. I don't know, maybe if you loosen the blade, guys that are fans of the Spidey flick or whatever, that can sit there and practice that. I don't know, maybe you could do it that way. I'm just going to open it with my thumb, just kind of like you would a Spyderco. Seems very simple, very straightforward. No real blade play that way. I don't know what it's using as far as washers go. I think I see bronze phosphor in there. I don't think they're Teflon. I think they're bronze phosphor. I'll probably have to take it apart to see. But nice little stainless steel pocket clip. This is something, a lot of you got your traditional knives. You got your one-handed opening knives. I'll leave this out here just for size comparison. There's different types of knives for different kinds of purposes. I see this as kind of just like a nice little pocket utility knife. While it is very small and you're like, oh, is that really going to fit in your hand? The finger choil, which is quite generous here. You can really get your whole finger in there without any chance of you pushing up on that blade. Lets you take this tiny little grip and it extends it up into, so they could have given you a bigger cutting edge by having that edge come all the way to here, but then you'd be trying to hold it like this. I kind of like this, the way that they've done this, in that they've given you that, when you just want to get in and whittle, you want to cut something, if you want to slice it, you can just put your thumb here. You've got nice jimping. It's not real aggressive. I wouldn't say it's really great jimping, but it is there. It does give your finger, just your thumb, a little bit of extra purchase. But if you want to hold it like this and cut and do things with it, you can. If you want to cut and do a simple draw cut like you would with a utility knife, you can. When you want to really just kind of choke up on it, it's just a really nicely made little blade. I like this for an EDC. Out of the box, it feels wicked sharp. I remember from the one I had a couple years ago, it was, yeah, see the little curly, that for a factory blade, you catching that? That is a really sharp little blade. Push test. Yeah, if you catch it right. So I'm not going to need to tune that up at all. I mean, that is a really nice, very sharp little blade. Does very nice, precise cuts. That tip, just barely kissing it, just digs right in. That's a nice utility knife. I like this a lot. So I'm kind of glad I got this. This is one of those knives where, you know, for less than 30 bucks shipped with tax or whatever off Amazon Prime, it's like, why wouldn't you have it? It's a good little knife you can throw in your pocket. If you don't want to use it on the pocket clip and draw attention to it, just throw it in your pocket. I mean, I guess you could even take that off if you want, if you didn't want to have a pocket clip. But it's under the length limits for certain states or certain countries that might have a thing about it. If you're allowed to have a locking blade, you know, it might have to be under a certain under a certain length. There's really there's no downside to this. I mean, it's Aus 8 steel, which is, you know, it's okay pocket knife steel. It's pretty corrosion resistant, but I feel like when you look at how just beefy this is, it's like a little tank. So this is, I feel like a knife. There's knives you have that are pretty that you can do stuff with. And then there's one like you feel like, okay, I could get stuff done with this. If I was doing repeated cutting, whether it be cutting leather, boxes, paper, it's just, you know, most of your utility knives come with a razor type blade with that, the sweep of the blade, you know, the blade straight across, the sweep comes down from the top. So this might not make as good of a slicer as something that's got some belly as far as like, but you can cut an apple, you can cut food, you could do stuff like that. What it's going to be really good is push cuts, and it's going to be good for drawing cuts. So opening packages, cutting rope, whittling, cutting. I mean, if you were to try to make a feather stick or something for bushcraft, it's just a nice little tiny knife you can just throw in your pocket. It's really sturdy. Everything on here seems to be stainless, so you don't have to worry too much about corrosion or rust or anything like that. The action's pretty smooth out of the box. Like I said, it's not, you can almost flick it. The problem is with the really tiny small blades is they're hard to grip to get that flick started. But then the blades are so small and light, they don't have that momentum that once you start to flick them, that momentum kind of carries it forward. But I mean, you can almost do it. But either way, you can certainly open it easy with one hand and close it. You can't close it as well as a liner lock. And that might be the one area where there's Shuffle 2 from Kershaw, because it does have the liner lock, so you can close it. With this, you'll probably have to do it against your leg or against the tabletop or something. That's just kind of the thing with the lock back, because in order to push the lock back, you kind of got to hold it in a way that puts your finger in the way of the blade. So I think typically you're probably going to push it against an object and, you know, do that. But small concession to pay, but it's a really cheap knife. It's way better quality. Like the Kershaw has the 8 CRMOV or whatever, and it's thin it's very, very thin plastic with steel liners, and the liner lock isn't all that great. It's just, you know, it's good for just a quick little knife you can have, and it's cheap, and you know, use that when you travel. So if you had to, oh shit, I forgot to check it and put it in my bag at the airport that's getting checked, you know, you could transport a knife that way. You can't take it in carry-on, obviously, since 9/11. So, you know, if you're like, oh, damn, I forgot to put in the checked luggage, it's in my pocket, I'm about to go through security. If you had to just discreetly take it out of your pocket and throw it in the trash, you know, you wouldn't be crying because like, oh, it was $65 or $100 or, you know, whatever on a more expensive knife. So not that they're throwaway. It's a good solid little knife, but I think it's a very cool little knife. I like that blade. This makes a great, I think, EDC. If you're not into the bigger knives and stuff, which I am, so I don't know how often I'll carry it, but there are times, I don't know, maybe you're just going to the office and you just need something small, discreet, what have you. Something like that where you can just quickly open a package and not draw, you know, a lot of attention to yourself. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, I think I gave you the stats on it. They're all right there if you want to pause and zoom in on it. But that's what it is. That is the Cold Steel Tuff Lite. They come in red. I think all the blades are silver, but they've got red. There's a blue. There's a black. There's like 4 or 5 different colored handles you can get. So I don't know, maybe pick up a 3-pack of these give them out as gifts or something, stocking stuffers. It's like that perfect little utility knife that you can carry around in your pocket, but not the little thin razor blade types that, you know, the blades snap and you got to replace them and all that stuff. So very cool. Anyway, enjoy.